The bell rings, but I'm still staring at the paper. My eyes move across the question again and again. Read the passage and answer the questions based on it. I read it. I really do. But my hand is already writing something else. Not because I want to be wrong, because something inside my head turns the meaning into something different. The teacher walks closer. I can hear her shoes on the floor. Tap, tap, tap. She stops beside my desk. Everyone should be working quietly, she says. I nod quickly like I am working, but I am not sure I'm doing the right thing. The first question says, what is the main idea of the story? I look at the passage about a boy who lost his dog and found it again, but I write about dogs in general. Dogs are animals that bark and run. I feel okay writing it. It feels correct in my head. Then the teacher says my name. Read your answer aloud. My heart jumps. I stand slowly. My paper shakes in my hand. I read it. The class goes silent for a second. Then someone laughs. A small laugh, but it feels loud in my ears. The teacher does not laugh. She just looks at me. That is not what the question asked, she says. I sit down. My face is hot. I look at the paper again. I read the question again. I whisper it in my head. What is the main idea of the story? I do not see the problem. I never see it immediately. That is the thing that follows me everywhere. Not lack of effort. Not lack of attention. Something else. Something that makes me answer a different question from the one in front of me. At home that evening, my mother asks me the usual question. How was school? I say, fine. She asks, did you have homework? I nod. She watches me while I open my book. The assignment is math, word problems, my least favorite kind. Sarah had 24 apples. She shared them equally among 6 friends. How many apples did each friend get? I read it slowly. Sarah, apples. Friends. I start writing. 24 apples is a lot. Apples are healthy fruit. People should eat fruit every day. I feel like I am answering properly. My mother walks closer. She looks at my book. Her face changes. Well, why are you writing that? I point at the question. I am answering it. She reads it again. She sighs. No, that is not the question. I blink, but it is the question. I read it again. My mind shifts like it slides off the actual meaning. I do not see division. I see a story about apples. And I respond to the story I see, not the task hidden inside it. My mother closes the book gently. Try again, she says. I try again, but the same thing happens. Every time. Later that night, I hear my parents talking. They think I am asleep. I don't understand, my father says. He knows the work in class. My mother replies, but he always answers something else. There is silence. Then she says, maybe he is not paying attention. I want to shout that I am paying attention. I am reading every word. But I stay quiet. Because I am not sure how to explain that I am there, but still not there. The next day at school, it happens again. English lesson. Comprehension passage. The teacher says, answer only from the passage. I underline sentences carefully. I read the first question. Why did the boy go to the market? I look at the passage. The boy goes to the market to buy food. But I write, markets are busy places where people sell goods. I think it is a good answer. It sounds right, but it is not what was asked. When the teacher collects my book, she pauses at my desk. You are reading, she says. Yes, I answer quickly, but not answering, she adds softly. That sentence stays with me longer than the lesson. Not answering. I go home feeling heavy. At lunch, my younger sister asks me for help with her homework. She's in a lower class. She reads a question. Circle the correct answer, 2 plus 3. Shh. She looks at me. I look at it. I say, this is easy. It is about numbers adding together. She waits. I continue talking about numbers. She slowly takes her book away from me. I will ask someone else, she says. That night, I sit on my bed and stare at my exercise books. I try to find the moment where everything goes wrong. I think maybe I am lazy. Maybe I am careless. Maybe I am slow. But I read everything. I just do not land in the right place when I answer. It feels like someone gives me a map, but I always end up at the wrong house. Weeks pass like this. The pattern grows stronger. Science test. Question. What causes rain? I write, rain is important for plants and animals. Math test. Question. Find the value of x. I write, x is a letter in the alphabet used in words. Every time, the same thing. Wrong answer. Not because I do not read, but because I do not connect the question to what it is asking me to do. My teacher calls me after class one day. She speaks gently, but her words are sharp. You are not careless, she says. But you are missing the instruction. I nod. I do not know what to say. She tries again. When I ask you a question, what do you think I am asking you to do? I honestly think. I think you want me to write something about the topic, I say. She pauses. That pause feels like a long hallway. Then she says, that is where the problem is. I do not fully understand what she means. But I feel something change. Not in me yet, but around me. Like people are starting to notice something hidden. At home, my father looks at my test and says, he's not trying enough. My mother disagrees. He is trying, she says. He just ends up somewhere else. I hear that, somewhere else. That is exactly how it feels. I am in the classroom, but my answers are somewhere else. I am in the question, but I miss the direction inside it. One afternoon, a new teacher arrives. She is not loud. She does not look at my marks first. She looks at my answers. She reads them slowly. Then she asks me to sit with her after school. I think I am in trouble, but she says, let's read together. She places a paper in front of me. One question only. What did the boy do after school? She asks me to read it out loud. I read it. She nods. Now tell me what it is asking you to do. I hesitate. I think it is asking about the boy, I say. She shakes her head gently. No. It is asking about his action after school. She points at the words, after school? That is the key. I stare at it. After school? My mind had skipped that. She notices my face. You are not careless, she says again. You are reading without locking onto the instruction. That sentence feels different. Like someone finally said what I could not explain. She does something new. She teaches me to circle the action word in every question. Describe. Find. Explain. State. She makes me slow down, not read less, read differently. Before I answer, I must say what the question is asking me to do. At first, it is uncomfortable. My brain wants to jump. But she stops me every time. We practice. One question, then another. I get some right. I get some wrong. But for the first time, I start to see the gap. It is not the reading. It is the direction after the reading. One day she says something that stays with me. You are answering what you see, not what is asked. She looks at me kindly. That can be changed. At home, I tell my mother what I'm learning. She listens carefully. She does not interrupt. That night, she tells my father. He is being taught a new way to read questions. My father is quiet. Then he asks, will it work? My mother replies, it already started changing him. Around this time, I notice something strange. I begin to pause before writing. Just a few seconds. But those seconds feel heavy. Like I am standing at a crossroads inside every question. One path is my old way. The other is new, slow, careful, uncomfortable, but clearer. The teacher continues working with me. She gives me a simple rule. Read the question twice. First time, just read. Second time, ask, what is it asking me to do? Not the story, not the topic, the instruction. Slowly, I begin to improve in small ways, not perfect, not fast, but real. In a test, I still make mistakes, but fewer. I start catching myself. I write an answer, then stop. I check again. Is this what is being asked? Sometimes I erase. Sometimes I fix it. Sometimes I still get it wrong. But I'm no longer completely lost. One day, the teacher smiles after marking my work. This is closer, she says. Closer. That word feels like progress. Not perfection, but direction. At home, my mother sees my corrected script. She touches the page lightly. You are starting to see it, she says. I do not smile fully, but something inside me feels lighter. Now, if you are a parent listening to this story, there is something important to notice here. Children like this are often seen as distracted or careless. But many are not missing effort. They are missing a clear link between the question and the required response. When that link is weak, every subject becomes confusing. Support must focus on how the child reads the instruction, not only the final answer. Structured reasoning support helps children slow down, identify what is being asked, and respond accurately step by step. It changes the way they process tasks, not just what they memorize. The change is gradual, but it is real. Back in school, my journey is still not smooth. I still make mistakes. In group work, I sometimes respond off topic. In class discussions, I still drift, but I'm catching myself more often. One day, I'm called to the board. The same feeling rises, fear, but I walk up. The question is written clearly. Explain why plants need sunlight. I read it. I pause. I circle, explain. I whisper in my head. They want the reason. I breathe and I answer. Not perfectly, but correctly enough. When I sit down, I do not hear laughter. I hear nothing dramatic, just normal classroom noise. But inside me, something shifts. Later that evening, I tell my teacher I got it partly right. She nods. That is progress, she says. Not praise, not celebration, just truth. Weeks later, I look back at my old exercise books. I see answers that made sense to me then, but not to the questions. I do not feel shame like before. I feel awareness. I can see the gap now, and I know how to close it slowly, not all at once. At home, my mother asks me, "How do you feel now when you get a question?" I think carefully. "I feel like I have to slow down," I say. She nods. "That is good," she replies. One evening, I sit at my desk after finishing homework. It takes longer than before, but it is quieter inside my head. I read a question. I stop. I ask myself what it is asking. And for the first time, I answer without going somewhere else. It is small, but it is mine. And it is the beginning of something that finally makes sense.